Welcome to those that are joining. We will get started shortly. Just give us a few minutes to let people in, and I will then start unmuting you and we'll get started with the introductions. But thank you for joining on time. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. So thank you for those that have joined today. We will continue to get guests arriving and I will unmute people very shortly. So without further ado, this session today is Ask the Expert session for CMDB and RSSO. We will be recording this session, so there is a few housekeeping items. I just want to share with you that because we are recording this, if you do need to change your name, then do let me know because we will be sending this out to YouTube. We do have a panelist of experts that will be answering your questions during this session, so please use the Q&A section. And I will share shortly the legal disclaimer, and if there's any concerns with the recording, please come to me directly. Please be mindful, we do have other customers on here, so you're not going against your policy, but this is an interactive session, so we do want you to share your challenges, your potential future plans with the product, and we will do our best to help. Any questions we can't answer today, we will take away as an action, and we will be, along with sharing the recording, all the questions that come from today. So firstly, my name is Samantha Amond. I work as a senior program manager. So some of you may have met me on some of these sessions before. I will be sharing webinars, any Ask the Expert sessions, and also working with some of our experts. So if you do have any questions or other topics that you do want to work with, please reach out to me separately with the survey. We'll share the blog posts after. This is an interactive session, so we do have a few questions we will start with, but the more questions that come in, the better, and we will do our best. So I would now want to hand over to my host, Charlotte Davidson, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yep, hi, my name's Charlotte. I primarily work with the CMDB suite support team and also support RSSO. I've been with BMC for 20+ years. So I will now hand over to Jean-Christophe.
Thanks, Charlotte. Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. My name is Jean-Christophe. I'm a Premier Support Specialist working in the Premier team. I'll pass you on to Varun.
Hi everyone, my name is Varun Patwardhan, and I too work in the CMDB and RSSO support team. I'll hand it over to Shivraj.
Shiv, if you can unmute yourself.
Hey, sorry. Hey, I'm Shivraj Sawan. I'm working with BMC R&D, CMDB R&D team for last 15 years. So I'll hand over now to Adam.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Adam. I work with the SEAL team at BMC. Been here for the better part of 5 years now, working with the Remedy product for well more than that, though, as probably most people. I think, Roman, are you the last one to go?
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. So my name is Roman Loika. I work for RSSO R&D team and can answer any technical questions on that. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think we've also got Evan as well, which I do need to sort his camera out shortly. But Evan, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. I'm Evan Polakowski. I'm on the RSSO and CMDB technical support analyst team. I've been with BMC for about 2.5 years.
Thank you, Evan. So Charlotte, back over to you and would like to get started with the questions we have. I'm just checking, we've got Andreas in the chat. So Andreas has given us a couple of questions ahead of this session. So if we could go through the questions, and Andreas, you may want to chime in and add a little bit of context, but Charlotte, if you want to get started with that.
Yep. So the first question, sorry about this. Yeah, so when will BMC allow customers to access their own tenant in the Helix SSO, or at least read access would be in a step in the right direction. Every time we need one of the things below, we have to raise a case to BMC support. And these include configure realms authentication, register OAuth clients, check audit settings, change other settings. So if someone can answer the question, that would be great.
And that's a question to our team. So I don't know who we've got on our team. Is that something, Shiv, that you can answer?
No.
Is that one?
So I might be able to provide some context to this working with the SAS group, although this might be something we need to go back and get a better answer on. And this might not be the answer you want to hear, Andreas, but there's a lot of challenges with this, right? If for you to have your own tenant for RSSO, I mean, while that would be certainly a solution, the SaaS environment is not single tenanted, right? There are hundreds, thousands of customers that use the on BMC SaaS world. So the challenges come from being able to make sure that our RSSO tenants that live in the cloud, because there's no sense in having a cloud service if your authenticator isn't in the cloud, right? If that's on-prem, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the cloud. So we need to make sure that we have connections back to your Active Directory, LDAP source. All those kinds of things have to take effect. So there's a lot of challenges is the shortcoming, the short version of that. And being able to access your own tenant, that's something certainly we can look at to make, regular changes. The one that I see that's particularly, that you've outlined, that's particularly noticeable is checking audit logs. That's definitely something I think we should, at least look at. And I see that you had a communities idea for that. So I'll be glad to take that further. But I don't see at this moment in time, I don't see this as a quick solution. This will be something we'll have to think out, and there will have to be a long-term permanent solution put into play. There's no quick workaround here. So I know that's probably not the answer you want to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's also, I mean, what you're saying is wrong. What you're saying is wrong because, I mean, I have had a couple cases I worked through, and for our dev environment, I mean, it is not real. It's, I support the idea, and I mean, I commented on the idea because we made some progress on this topic, because it is possible to get your own SSO instance in SaaS, and we have that for our dev environment.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not trying to say it's not possible.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that's not typical, is my point.
Yeah. I mean, so this is possible. And for example, if I just look at my screenshot, I mean, you can clearly see that for dev, we can now check the audit logs, and we can do local users. We can look at sessions. We can do some Realm stuff. I mean, I have a defect where some of the Realm stuff for the authentication is not working properly. But I mean, so what we have in dev right now is, I mean, not the whole thing, not the full list, but I mean, this is something in the right direction. And I mean, Roland, who created the idea, I mean, he was asking for more, and I mean, sure, I would ask for more too, because the own RSSO instance is, I mean, still limited to, I mean, for example, register OAuth clients is also not possible. So we would still have to raise a case for that part. So it is kind of a mixed situation right now, and I mean,
and that's
you
a
have to be
custom
aware
solution, right? That we've built for you, and that's good. And, that's definitely something.
Is it custom? I mean, we raised a case. We said, hey,
the product isn't custom, but the situation certainly is.
I mean, I don't know how many more customers actually have their own RSSO or HSSO in Helix, but I mean, we asked for it and we got it, but I don't really think we are the only one who have one. But I mean, this could be true.
I'm not going to say you're the only one, but it is rare. It is very rare.
Yeah, sure.
Usually it is, I'd say, well above 90% of our customers are multi-tenanted, and at least with RSSO. But you know, like I said, there are definitely situations, particularly with high security environments, you know, banks and governments and stuff like that, where we absolutely make those exceptions. We realize that, and if you think you fall underneath one of those categories, yeah, I mean, let us know. We can make those exceptions, but it is pretty rare for us to do that. And to make this available to everyone, though, that's what I'm saying. Just for this to be the default, there are a lot of challenges involved in that would take a pretty significant change in how we handle SaaS. So, like I said, I'll take this back. I'll see if there's, you know, some better answer, but that's the unfortunate truth.
I mean, yeah, that sounds good to me. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll go to the next question that Andreas has, and that is, will overlays for BMC core classes be possible in the future? We have purely cosmetic adjustment requirements and I'm currently unable to implement them. So Shivraj, I think you can answer that.
This is Shivraj Andres. I can answer this question. That's a great question. For quite some time, the discussion is going on typically to support the overlays from the class manager. Yes, I do agree. Currently, we can implement overlays from the backend forms. Typically, most of the overlays doesn't get override because we use APIs to during upgrade. But yes, sometimes if the change is been made using overlays and the same is there in the upgrade, then it will definitely get override. But of course, the discussion is going on for like supporting overlays from the UI point of view. But I'm not sure about the roadmap right now. So it's good for you, Andreas?
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, there's the idea. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I was just quickly looking if I find a suitable idea, and I was able to find one. Maybe there's even a better idea. I just noted it under my post, and we will see how it goes. We also have a case open right now where we exactly ask this question, and we are still R&D pending. And I think the main issue which came up was that if you have an overlay over your core class, I mean, there's a problem with the recon engine. So, and they are looking into this right now.
Okay. If you could share me that case ID, then I'll take a look into it.
Pop it in the chat, Andreas, or
you.
you can put it into the communities, and we'll And also any roadmap stuff, unfortunately, our product manager, Rahul, is actually on leave. So if there's anything that comes up roadmap, we will take it away and then update the Q&A section. Thank you.
Okay,
Charlotte,
so
I think we had another one.
Yeah, the final question that Andreas
Yeah,
had.
not a good hitter.
The embedded Pento framework is outdated for a couple of years now. Please share the current status of this topic. Will BMC be able to update it to the current version soon? So, Shivraj, I think you can answer that too.
The address again. This is Shivraj. Yeah, again, this is a everyone customers need right now. The team, R&D team, is currently working on it. They are facing some challenges at the initial level. We are working for last 3 months. Once those will be resolved, the product management team will immediately disclose about the roadmap of it. But currently the work is going on for the upgrading to Pentaho latest version.
I mean, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. I mean, we are waiting for it very, very, very long. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I think, Charlotte, those were all the questions we had prior to the session, but I do know the team's been busy in the chat on the Q&A answering some questions. So I think I'm not always sure if customers can see other customers' responses. Can we go to Patrick's and you just read that out? And I believe Roman responded back to this question. Can you have a look at Patrick's?
Yeah, so Patrick asked, is it possible to use OAuth 2 or OIDC to integrate to ARS through RSO with a scripting language? He tried a few years ago, but the client then had to click OK in HTML and JavaScript response page that his PowerShell script wasn't able to carry out. And Roman answered, there's an OAuth JWT grant type that's supported, which does not require front channel communication to grant access tokens. And he shared a link regarding this.
Patrick, I've unmuted you. I don't know if you want to add any comment, and obviously we've got Roman on here as one of our experts if you want to take this conversation further. I don't know if you can hear us, Patrick.
Yeah, I can hear you. No, I just want to know if the constant page, so that doesn't show up right.
Okay, does Roman's response answer everything you need?
Yes, you're right. Yes, constant page will not show. Yeah, that's correct.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. And while we've got you unmuted, is there any other questions that you have for the team?
Not for now, thank you.
Okay, well, we've got the Q&A if you do think of anything else, and we can come back to you. Next one, Charlotte, was from Ryan Johnston, asking about versions, if you want to just read that out. And then again, Roman, if we can go to you, because I know you've responded a couple of comments.
Yeah, so he asks, in older versions of RSO, we had a launch pad. Can we have that in HSO as well? And Roman answered that the Launchpad in HSO was deprecated in favor of the Helix portal, which provides a similar enhancement experience.
Okay, Ryan, I've just unmuted you. Does that answer your question? Do you have anything further for Roman or the team?
So how do we configure the portal then? Like in our cloud environment, we can't log into RSSO and do anything. And if portal replaces that, remember IL4 is at 2008. So I'm not quite sure portal's in 2008. I think that's a 21.3 thing, right? So you see where I'm going with this? The IL4 environments lag. We used to have Launchpad. I could do it on-prem, of course, but why would I want to? How do we do that? Basically, I'm looking for RSSO to be able to do a SAML assert to another product, which you could do through Launchpad, right? You could launch to it as if you were the IDP. But if we don't have that capability in HSSO and we have portal, if portal is just tiles on a screen, that's not it. It needs to be something that comes from the authenticator. Does that make sense?
Yeah, let me split the answer. So the first part is regarding 2008 environment. So Launchpad was deprecated only after the portal was introduced. So if you have a version where portal is not there, then Launchpad should be available. At least it was not removed from the product at that time. But moving forward, yes, it's really deprecated and remove it from the product, and it's not the same. Like, I agree, it's not the same as Launchpad. It's a different thing. And yeah, I know, like, adding some custom tile into Helix portal is a different experience. I'm not the right person to answer deeply on that because I'm not from the Helix portal team. But I can just outline the intention for that, like why it was removed and why. So from the HSSO perspective, from the Helix portal, I believe like it replaces up to some point the experience, but further needs to be pick it up from someone who knows Helix portal better than me.
Sure.
So we can take that away, Ryan, if you want further commentary on it. I think we need some more details. Would that be okay?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, I'll touch base with you after because we've got the responses for the basics, and if we can get a bit more context, and then we can go to the team and get more information for you. Okay. Why we've got you, just when we were talking to you, do you have any other questions for the team?
Not off the top of my head, but I'm sure as I hear other things.
Okay, that's fine. It's an interactive session, so for everyone else that's on here as well that haven't said anything, do feel free to put your questions in the Q&A, and then we'll get to those, or you can put your hand up and we can come to you next. I did see we had another question, Charlotte, about Pentaho, and I think it's been answered. I don't know if we can have a look at it in the section. It was from Anonymous, actually. So I don't know if we've got maybe Adam or someone can answer that question, because I think, Adam, you were briefly mentioning stuff. Do you want to maybe take that question around Pentaho, or is it for Shiv?
It was Shiv mentioning that, and I'm assuming that he stepped away. Shiv, are you there? Shivra?
Yeah, I'm here.
So there was a question about the community post with Pentaho problem to get updates from the comments from today. So we wondered if you could maybe respond to that around the upgrade. I know it's normally a PM to answer that.
I asked him for the specific communities post. This isn't a new request. There are dozens of community requests out there for Pentaho to be updated to a newer release. So I'd like to know which one specifically they'd like for us to look at. I know that there are a lot of updates because, of course, here at BMC, we get, regular releases that we get to test and try out. And there are several updates to the Pentaho bundle that and like Shivra said, that there's a lot of challenges at getting that to mesh well, right? So
I can see we've got a response saying that they're going to find the exact post. It comes up as anonymous. So if there is someone on here today and you do want to talk or you don't want to be named, that's absolutely fine. If you could just put which post and we can come back, I guess, to that question.
I'll be glad to find it and update it.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so there's a new question, Charlotte. I don't know if you can see it from Wade, if you want to read that out.
No, we had one from Matt who asked, sorry if this question was already discussed, but we're having challenges getting the RSA portal working on on-prem containers. Does anyone have experience with this? So I think Roman answered, but we need further clarification of what exactly the problem is.
I think Matt's added some extra context actually. Was it Matt Hardin, yeah?
Yes.
For BMC Helix ITSM, BMC Helix portal. Matt, I have unmuted you. Do you want to talk? And then we can find an answer for you. I know it's been done in the chat.
Yes, love to. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello.
Okay, hello. So we're installing, we're at the Government of Canada, we're installing ITSM 21306, which comes with portal services, I guess 23102. And we're having a problem with the RSSO basically accessing it through the Nginx ingress. And just trying to understand if anybody's done that successfully on-prem or if we need to create some kind of Kubernetes node port access or something like that. Everything else seems to come up absolutely fine. It's just for some reason that part is not succeeding for us.
Charlotte, was that something that Roman answered?
Oh, well, yeah, or... I think Adam can probably answer this.
Adam.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't. Well, so what I know is that from my experience working with on-prem containers customers, that there are successful cases, and actually customers are deploying on-prem installers and using RSSO. Exactly, like if there are some issues with your deployment, then I believe this should be taken forward by BMC and by our team or some other team. We need to investigate that case because different things can come up.
So for sure, just the reason I ask is in the day zero checklist, there's some FAQs where it talks about creating different ways to access the Nginx ingress, but yeah, that's fine. I mean, I can open a ticket or something like that. I just wondered if that was a known issue or if that was sort of something that's a work in progress. I know the on-prem version is fairly new for BMC.
Yeah, but well, it's working. So yeah, please, we need to investigate that case.
Okay, thank you very much.
Matt, if you open a ticket and if there's any problems or anything, if you want to reach out to any of us or myself via the communities, we can help assist. I think the initial thing, as Roman said, open the ticket first, let it go through the investigation because it will ultimately end up, if it needs to R&D to try and troubleshoot or help assist. But if you get any problems, if you want to reach out, I can help support you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I was more asking in a generic higher level sense if there was any sort of discussion points around the on-prem version of RSSO, but I can definitely open up that case for sure.
Okay, thank you. While we've got you unmuted, anything else from yourself?
No, that's it for me, thanks.
Wonderful, thank you very much for your question. So Charlotte, I've seen there's a response back around the community post for Pentahost. So Adam, can I divert back to you? I don't know if you've had a chance.
Yes, as soon as we get off from here, I'll take a look at that. That'll be the first thing I'll do.
Okay, wonderful. And if whoever the person is, if you do want to speak to us, if you can drop some details into us privately, we can follow up directly, or Adam can for you. Thank you. Okay, so Charlotte, going back to the Q&A, I can see Shivraj is answering Wade's question. So if you want to go through Wade's question and then we can dive in.
I actually have that pulled up here.
Okay.
I've been looking at it in our development system. Essentially, Wade had a issue with normalization engine, a new feature request really, where he wanted to limit the class that the normalization engine was working on. So you'd create a job and it would just do computer system or just do product or whatever singular class that you want it to do. So that was accepted as a enhancement. I can see that it is not finished currently, but there are details in it. They started doing research on how they would want to handle that. So it's not done and really, I guess at this point, not started, but we are researching that. That is in progress in the planning part of that. So that's your update for that, Wade. Is Wade unmuted and is he still here?
I'm still here,
yeah,
yes. Thank you. I'm here. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, it's always to know. Thank you. I'm just glad it was accepted.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
we're currently researching on how to do it and what challenges there might be. So
okay.
Hopefully in the next little bit you'll be able to see that.
Okay, awesome. Because we've had a lot of challenges around that job due to the amount of I think it's classes is trying to process with that job. So I end up with like 2 or 3 million errors on my normalization job, and only 60,000 actually go through because I don't have some of the stuff ticked off. Essentially, we don't want the product catalog to be filled up with all the junk that Discovery picks up. So we rather manually go add the actual record and then normalize whatever gets picked up to that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I know what you mean. Like with
that,
I know what you mean with like IP endpoint and the LAN endpoints and things like they're not always.
Exactly. Yeah. They're not important.
Yeah.
We don't want to normalize stuff.
You want it there, but exactly. You don't want normalization engine to care. No problem. We're, like I said, we got that currently in progress.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Thanks. Wade, do you have anything else, again, while we've got you unmuted?
Yeah, if I think of something, I'll just pop something else in the chat. Thank you.
Okay. It's actually quite useful to the rest of the audience if you do put them into the chat, because what we do, we take the answers after and build it into a Q&A. So if you do have them, I like to be able to track them. So please do use the Q&A as busy as you'd like to use them, and anything we don't get to by the end of the hour, we will take away and respond back. So thanks for that, Wade. Okay, so Charlotte, back to the Q&A. I can see actually there's another question from now Mike Allen. If you want to read it out, it's quite a lengthy one. And Mike, feel free to chime in as well.
Yeah, so Mike asks, has there been any thought about BMC publishing an application in Microsoft Azure AD application gallery for clients to quickly and easily set up SSO with Azure Active Directory and RSSO? And possibly even then leverage automatic user provisioning with SCIM. We're an MSP and onboard many new clients on a regular basis, and anything to streamline the process of setting up SSO with our clients and user provisioning would be great.
Okay, do we have anyone on our team that could answer that? No. Okay, so Mike, we're probably going to have to take this away. We've got quite a few big different resources in BMC, and it's very difficult when I put panelists together to know exactly what type of questions. So if it's okay with you, Charlotte and I will take this question away and we'll find a response. And again, we'll also update the post so other customers benefit for whatever the response is. Is that okay?
Yep, thank you.
Pleasure. And sorry, we can't answer it today. We never know. But I'll just type a message in there to say this will be taken away to a further forum, and we'll come back. And if obviously you need anything further from then, I'll put my contact details in. Okay. While we do have you unmuted, anything additional you would like to add? Any other questions?
I think that would be great if I could just get a response on that.
Okay, no problem at all. I'll take that and I'll own that one. So Charlotte, I think we've got I know there's a few that's been answered. We can go back to this in a minute, but there's another one from Paul that's in the open questions.
Yeah, so Paul says he has a question relating to BMC product and software version change management. So I think, Paul, if you can just clarify exactly what you're what you need.
So we're implementing Remedy right now in our environment for incident request, change, release, and also configuration management. So having the CMDB, we don't have discovery tools. And as I've been looking at the product literature around something like a BMC product as a CI, and thinking of change management, the guidance is that there should be one BMC product CI for every host that it's installed on. So if I've got, I think the example was 10 copies of Microsoft Word, I would have 10 product CIs for Microsoft Word in my right? Because they're installed on 10 different computers, for example.
They would all be children of their host system.
Right. And so if I'm doing change management, then all 10 of those CIs, the product version has to be changed for the 10 different installations, right?
Yeah. Now, you're bringing up a really good point. This is something, one of the things, and this is the whole reason why I was brought into this, and I'm sorry for stealing this, but this is exactly what I've been working on for the past, I don't know, 3 months or so. One of the challenges that a lot of our customers have is just, man, how do we keep up with all the changes in our environment? And Paul, the short and simple answer is you can't. In a modern infrastructure and modern data centers, modern IT environment, there's no reasonable way for a human being to keep up with all the changes that are happening. So you, and in your example, and we'll use this because this is a very popular example where customers say, hey, look, we're going from Office 2016 to Office, 2022 or whatever version is the latest. I don't even know. How do we update this for the 500 computer systems that we're doing this for? And with the way we use technology today, it's not like it was in the 90s, where only the accounting team had 10 computers and they only had the 3 applications that they used, and you could track it because you only got an update once every 3 years when you bought a disk. I mean, that just doesn't happen today. There's Patch Tuesday every month from Microsoft, and then every Friday, Apple is pushing an update to their software, and then Adobe has their own cycle. And now with cloud providers, Office 365 and things like that, you're going to get small patches just regularly all the time, and the minor version changes. And we're just talking about software. Let's not even start talking about the firmware of network devices and things like that, right? You're going to have to, and this will happen as you mature in your configuration management, right? I don't expect you to have it today, but eventually you're going to have some kind of automated system that tracks that. Now, maybe the intermediate step is using the data management tool and spreadsheets, where, if it's 10, it's not that big of a deal, right? If it's, I know that's the example you used. 10 is not that big of a deal. It's probably not even worth dealing with. But if you have, 4,000 laptops and workstations that you're all going to update the patch level of Windows, it might just be best to make a spreadsheet for that, and then have that, use the DMT tool to import that into your system and let that update. And that is kind of sort of this pseudo automated way of doing things. And yes, you're right. Your change ticket will be related to all of the systems that you are changing. And if you're updating 5,000 Windows instances, you need to relate 5,000 CIs to that change request. And the BMC answer is always going to, and I think everyone at BMC agrees with this, you should probably figure out a way to, for whoever the change coordinator is, to manage that. Don't update all 5,000 at once. It's never a good idea to roll a whole update out to a company anyways on the same day, unless it's a critical update. You want to do it in phases, right? You want to do, on Monday, we're going to do 25% of our workstations. On Wednesday, we're going to do another 25. On Friday, we're going to do another 25. And then, we'll finish the rest the next Monday. And then the, final Friday, we're going to get all the stragglers, right? The people that were on vacation and didn't even turn their machines on, or whatever, right? So, and that seems like, and I wished I had, I was not prepared to answer a question like this. I wished I would have been. I have a whole slideshow on this where you have the ITSM system, and the only way to enter things is manually, except for now We have things like Discovery, which does a great job. You have Discovery, you have Microsoft SCCM. I had one customer that used, we talked about Pentaho earlier. They used Pentaho and Atrium Integrator to grab data from another database. They used McAfee, and they really wanted to get version information from McAfee because it did a better job at getting versions for specific software. So you use all these other tools to get data in your system. And once you can get the data, the health of the data and the continuity of the data at a high level, then you can start implementing AI ops, which is a big deal. And that way, things like TrueSight, as an example, can cut a incident ticket when something goes down. And then things like Blade Logic can say, hey, I have a script of 10 things that I'm going to run through because I see that this is down. So let me go ahead and restart the service, restart the box. Let me go ahead and check this config file against its baseline. And all the different things that you could do to auto resolve, and then that relieves the burden on your help desk team. It is a perpetual machine that, as you get more automation in place, it's less work for you, and it's more complete for your IT organization. So I know that that's a long way of saying, you can always go into the product and click modify all and update all of them at once, right? You can always take your change request and link them however you need to, right? We have the CIs with the change request. But I don't see a reasonable way for a reasonable company that is in a modern IT infrastructure to keep up with this without some form of automation. So
that's a good
after
point.
my whole spiel with that, what is?
Well, it leaves me a little bit, I don't know, taken aback or whatever, but I agree. We need some kind of automation. And part of what I was thinking at first when we were approaching this is, if I've got a product like Windows, then I would say, here I have this product installed on these various different computers, so one product to many hosts, let's say, and I could update that, and all those hosts know that, within the CMDB context, we know that those hosts are running that version of Windows. But given that it's supposed to be, or it's recommended to be, multiple product CIs or Windows on each one, in the service model examples from the BMC documentation, we would see a software server CI created, which is that software installed on that host. So it would say, Windows on computer as a CI name. So what would we name the product though? Because
so here, I think this is a very common mistake. I made this mistake too. You're conflating things like software server, operating system, and product, and they mesh together because in a lot of ways they do. The product is used really for the licensing component, and it's probably the number one use case for software. You have the Microsoft Office product installed on your machine, but it doesn't have a software server. Excel is not a server of any kind, but if you have Apache Tomcat, that is both a product and a software server, but it's not an operating system. Windows, on the other hand, is a product. Well, actually, no, it's not. Operating systems are not products. They are an OS.
Let's go with Apache, because things like Oracle and SQL Server are really top of mind. So,
okay. I mean, and that's a good example, right? So, Oracle DB, SQL Server, they are both going to be products and a server. And here's the reason, and I'm glad you bring up a database as an example. So let's say you have 100 databases installed in your data center. The reason why they're all going to be unique CIs, and it's not one CI, one child to many parents, computer systems, is because each of them can be configured differently. And this is where a configuration management database comes into play, right? So one SQL server could have port 1433, but then another one could have 2500.
Sure.
And then another one could have 1433 and 2500, right? And all of those settings are saved differently in each CI, right? Because they are in fact configured differently. And that is why it is as granular as it is. And once again, unless you have a competent discovery mechanism, which I guess you could do manually, but that would be very difficult. What's going to happen is, you know, the system admin that built that database and changed the port, he just doesn't remember, because he does 1433 all day, every day, but this one product wants 2433 for whatever reason. You know, so, oh, I changed it and I didn't update it in asset management or in the CMDB, and now it's just not there and nobody knows and it's confusing. And now your network team is making firewall rules that blocks it. And, you know, so that's why a discovery system like BMC Discovery will go in and see, oh, you have SQL Server and it is currently listening on 1433. I know to configure it that way because that's what it is actively doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope maybe that example shows why the granularity is required.
Right, and that would go into the attributes for the software server, and the
Yes.
software server is very uniquely identified as a CI. It's
Mm-hmm.
you know, product, or it's software product on host as a
Mm-hmm.
CI name, but the product itself, how, you know, if I've got to have multiple product CI instances for the same product, how would you suggest naming those CI instances for product?
That, I think, is a very specific question that every company will have to have their own answer for. Your name, the name field is trivial, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's whatever you want it to be. Your naming scheme is different. And let's go back to your database as an example. And I don't know that this is a great example, but I'm going to make it anyways. So let's say your DBAs, and because this is another key attribute of all CIs, who manages them, who supports them, who owns them, right? So maybe this database is owned by the Remedy team, and it is managed by the database team, and it's supported by the database team. But this database is owned by somebody else, and it's, while it's managed by the database team, another team supports it because it's so customized, right? You know, those are just some quick attributes that might be different, and that's what makes this whole thing. How do you name it, right? Is Oracle DB owned by a certain team? I think the naming scheme Discovery used is Oracle DB on computer system, right? So it gives you the name of the computer system. So say,
which is what we would see for the software server, and sounds like you'd suggest using the same naming approach for the BMC product CIs as well.
Yeah, and software server, I think, is software name on computer system name, parentheses, port numbers. So it tells you what port numbers it's listening on in the names. That way it's a little bit more easily identifiable. But once again, that's a lot of manual work to be putting on you and your team. So I would encourage you, even if you don't have Discovery, look at what Atrium Integrator can do for you. I mean, you have to have an Active Directory, LDAP system, something like that that's keeping track of this. You might consider using Atrium Integrator's LDAP job to pull this data once a month to make it significantly less taxing on you. So, Paul, I'm gonna, because I'm conscious of time and we got 10 minutes left. If you have any other questions, reach out to me on Communities. And I'll be glad to help set up a plan for you and your organization on how you guys might want to tackle this.
Okay, great.
Samantha?
Thanks.
Adam, can I also ask, without putting you too much on the spot, is you mentioned about having presentations and slides together. Is there something that you could formulate for the rest of the customers on here that we could share either in a how-to video? Maybe you and I can connect after, because it sounds like a very meaty topic.
It is, and we actually are currently undergoing workshops for any customer that is on the call today, and I will get blasted for saying this, but I'm going to go and say it because I think it's important. Any customer that's on the call today that thinks you would like to go through this workshop that deals with how do we actually manage our data, get in contact with your account manager and tell your account manager to contact me, and I will structure you guys in for our workshop. Because this is a bigger topic, like Samantha said, it's not going to be a 5-minute YouTube video. It's just not. This is a real conversation you have to have back and forth. So there will not be a YouTube video because just the content, the way it is, but I will be glad to figure out a way to help whoever it is kind of get over this, because this is a big issue. And it's not unique to BMC either, right? If you have a CMDB, this is the issue. So
maybe, Adam, we could start a discussion specifically on this on the community, but I'll touch base with you, and then obviously, Paul, we can follow up with some actions, because I think that, like Adam said, I work very closely with the solutions engineering team that he works for. There's quite a few big projects that they've got, and this is clearly one of them. But yeah, great conversation. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions that were answered in the chat. I do want to go to those, so Paul, we'll come back to you on that, but great discussion. Marek asked a question. Hi, Marek. I know we haven't spoken for a while, and I know you do join quite a lot of these. So your question was actually answered by Varen. So I don't know, Charlotte, if you want to read out, it's in the answered ones. Marek had a question around Pentaho in SaaS, and it'd be quite nice to have Varen speak. Can you see that in the chat?
Yep, I've just got to find it. Yes, so by the way, speaking about Pentaho, how is it in SaaS? If my job generates a file, can I store it in Pentaho transformation? What will be the destination? Can it be /tmp? Can I then load the file or upload to FTP in the next step using the /temp path? Sorry for the off topic. So we're in.
Right. So I think the question is that whether you can first place a file in a /temp location and then move it to an FTP location. So this is not something that I have seen being implemented, but like in Spoon, there are multiple possibilities for different kind of jobs and scenarios. So I think that is something that definitely can be explored, but this is not something that we have tested ourselves. So I've answered the steps that you can use. FTP, there's an FTP put step in Spoon, which can be used to place a file on an FTP location. And text file output can be used to place a file at some location, say like on the SaaS server.
Thanks, Vera. Marek, can you hear us? I can see you've come off mute.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Marek, we
hello.
can hear you.
Hi. So there are situations, and I'm not sure if the Excel generator, for example, can generate directly to FTP. Are you sure?
So the Excel generator for generating rows, you mean?
Yes, for example.
Okay.
Any generating set. So you cannot generate directly to FTP. So we need, and it is quite standard, I need to store the file. Until now, and in on-prem Kubernetes installation, I can put there /temp, no problem. How do I do this in SaaS? Can I save a file generated in IE transformation? Can I put there /tmp? Will it be stored?
I think we do that. I think we do that. I mean, I'm really not the expert on all these Spoon jobs. I can't do everything, but I know that, I mean, we have Spoon jobs and we use like the BMC FTP to get files like from.
I know to get to get the logs, for example. You can get logs in iJob.
Yeah,
but I'm asking about writing here. If you didn't
we
put
do
there
that.
some
We do that.
blockage.
I'm 99% sure we do that. I mean, I have to get the details from the guy who's actually doing it, but I'm 99% sure we do that because we use that to transfer the generated files then via MFT job from the BMC FTP to our local share. So that is like
yes, that's another thing. Yeah, I'm downloading files, so I have to store it somewhere. So the question in general is actually the pod with the IR system is mine pod. Is this mine pod or there are tenants, or how is it actually? Is it when is it my pod? Then I should be able to store there anywhere. Yeah, so it's my pod.
Yeah, and Marek, you should be during your onboarding. They should have given you the access to 2 directories, one called to on BMC and one called from on BMC directories. That's the location that you need to use with your spoon jobs.
Okay,
because it's specific to you.
In theory now, I'm in theory, but for the near future, I just wanted to ask. That's great. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But that answers mine, so I won't go look at that. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. So
this is part of the collaboration.
Yeah. So there are, like John mentioned, there are 2 locations which you have access to, and those help you place files on the FTP. And there is also a location on the server. So in case of SaaS, you have a data folder under ARS, which has a location to put files in. So customers use that location as well to place files.
Okay, so I use full path, not relative path. I can define the path. No.
Yeah, so the relative path would be something like OPT/BMC/ARS.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clear. Thank you.
So that's basically the AR system path in your SaaS setup.
Okay. Yeah, I can find this. No problem. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Marek, was there anything else while we've got you unmuted? Guessing not.
I have my answer. Thank you.
Okay, I know normally you have at least more than one question, so I'm quite surprised. Andreas has done it for you with his 3-4 questions. Charlotte, I have noticed there's no more open questions, so we've got a few minutes left. There's a dialogue going on, and Andreas, forgive me, there's a few things that I see you had in the open and then it's gone into the answered. You mentioned about the Pentaho issue, and I saw that Adam has said he'd follow up, and also we've got Thomas Hammer mentioned about the Pentaho spoon upgrade link. So Adam, again, I think you've obviously responded to those. Yep. So this is a topic that you're going to take away, right?
Yep, I have several community posts here that I need to go look at and see what they're all about and give a competent reply to, hopefully.
Great, thank you. So Andreas will get a bit more context for you there, and Thomas, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add to it while Adam's on this call, so he can go away and do the investigation.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, there's a thread under this idea. I mean, I've asked many times and never got answers. And you can just put it up below there. I mean, that's a good place.
Okay.
Yes, I agree.
We'll follow up with that.
Do it. It's fine.
Okay. Thanks, Thomas. Okay. And then I saw, Andreas, you had another question, which was around any plans to update CMDB API help.html Swagger UI to the recent version, and Shivraz responded and just said that there is discussion going on about replacing it with some other tool, but there's nothing concrete at the moment. So I don't know if you needed anything further, but that's obviously a topic for discussion at the moment.
Can you hint how you want to replace it? Which tools are in discussion?
Shivraz?
Yeah, so I was not part of that discussion, and I just heard that the team is going to replace the Swagger UI. And that is just a couple of days back, I heard that. But there is a discussion going on. So I'll let you know what is going on in couple of days.
Sounds good, thank you. I have also a case around this, because I noticed this like last week, because the webhook JSON from the AR API is not properly working with this old version of Swagger UI. I wasn't able to fill the header field. And I mean, I was using in the latest version of Swagger UI and it works perfectly fine in there. So I just raised the case really talking about, yeah, I mean, the Swagger UI is super old. I mean, this is the Swagger UI, which is in there right now, is like from 2017. And yes. I mean, it's pretty much similar with the whole Pentaho topic. I mean, I guess it's not so old, but it's pretty much the same thing. And it's, again, not only about functionality, it's also about security, because this old Swagger UI version has vulnerabilities. And this then leads to another thing where I'm like asking myself, isn't doing BMC pen tests, and shouldn't those pen tests find those issues and then BMC fix them? But they never did. So I'm really looking forward what BMC support will reply to that.
Yeah, because of those security vulnerabilities only now discussion was going about to replace it.
Okay.
With something simple where the vulnerability will not be there.
Is it possible that we reference, Andreas, your case, and then Shivraj, when you speak with the team that are obviously looking to do the replacement, maybe you could reference his case so there's some examples. Would that be useful?
Yes.
So Andreas, if you want to write into the chat your case, and obviously that can be taken away and we can mention it to the team.
Yeah, put it in there right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I am conscious we've gone 2 minutes over. I noticed there's a few people that have had to drop now, and thank you, Andreas, for putting that in the chat. I don't believe we've got any further questions. So firstly, I just want to thank obviously the panelists and Charlotte for hosting the session. There will be more sessions like this. This is the first one we've done for CMDB and RSSO. So if there's any other topics that you would like to hear about or you want it as webinars, if you can fill in the survey, which I will send out if it's not today, tomorrow, if you can fill it in, and I'll work with Charlotte and the team to get the answers that we've already been able to give into a Q&A. And once we start updating those, we'll update that version. So thank you everyone for joining. Have a great day. And I'm sure I'll see many of you on future sessions as well. So thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Thanks all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.